And then just, I guess, keeping it staffed and dealing with interpersonal issues between 132 people that live under the same roof. It's I kind of liken it to roommates living together or people living in a dorm. They generally like it, but there are always going to be issues that come up. So it's always something new and different, and sometimes it's just so out of this world I can't even believe it. But it's really a fun, dynamic job. It's also really cool because we don't have a big corporate structure that has this like top-down authority that comes and tells us what to do. So that's really nice. So it's for me that's a really good thing because I did work in that environment. I didn't really like it very much. That would not suit me. So I guess just like we're kind of going out into the yonder and we don't know what's next, and that's really exciting when you look at the long-term forwardness.
And then with like the issues that you mentioned, is there a certain way that you handle conflict, whether it be with staff or with patients? And is there like a different way that you go about it if it is with your staff versus with your patients?
Yeah. When it's staff, a lot of times it helps. Like I try to hear both perspectives and always let people know I'm glad you brought this to my attention. I'm going to try and help you come up with a resolution. I do have to listen to the other side of the story, so that it's usually big stuff if it comes all the way to my desk. So I try to remind people some simple things that I have learned is that even if your feelings are hurt or even if this particular situation didn't go well, people generally mean well. And so there's usually at the root of everything, there's some sort of miscommunication. Like people have generally good intentions. So I remind them of that, and I always remind them. I mean, these are simple lessons that my mom taught me in kindergarten. So, don't like, don't really harbor ill feelings over one situation. Always try to be the bigger person and move forward with trying to rebuild the relationship because the reality is we all work here together. And I like to give specific examples of people who used to be absolute, they could not get along. I don't like to say enemies because that's not really the reality, but we have people that could not get along, and I kept, not just me, everyone kept telling them, you've just got to keep working on it, and now they get along very well. So we have those good stories, and sometimes it's between a nurse and one of the residents, and it's just personality conflict. They just don't get along. So I like to have those kind of stories of success that I can remind people of. When it comes to residents, a lot of times it's reiterating to them that everyone has the same rights. So, for example, we have a neighborhood it's pretty self-sufficient, and they have a lot of leadership and engagement in their own neighborhood. Just one second. Excuse me.
We can pause it. I don't think we should pause it. I'll just cut it out because I don't want to pause it and then it'll be like different clips.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Sorry about that.
You're fine.
With the residents, there's one neighborhood that they're very independent and self-sufficient, and they get their own games going, and the council president lives there. Well, there are several couches, and one lady likes to sleep on the couch all day, and the other ladies are quite upset because why doesn't she sleep in her room? She's taking up the whole couch, and she's not even awake. She's asleep, and so having to help them understand, this is your home, so you may think that it's wrong to come and sleep in the public area, but this would be like if she were at her home and she wanted to snooze on the couch during the day. It's maybe you like to sleep on your bed during the day, but maybe she likes to sleep on the couch and be in the public area where there's a lot of commotion. So my solution was, they didn't like that conversation. My solution was to bring another couch into the area so that, because the big thing was the lady was sleeping on the couch and nobody else had a place to sit. So I got another couch, and it now there's plenty of room for everybody to sit, but they still don't like that this lady has the gall and the nerve and the presumption to just sleep in the public area. So there are a lot of just little things that come up like that, and I just try to remind, so with the staff, remind them that we're all in this for the same reasons. You know, let's try and work on your relationship, because you have to continue to work together. If that's not going to work, do you want to go and move to a different section of the building? They always want the other person to move. And then with the residents, it's typically a focus on rights, what's most important, and just helping them with interpersonal issues. Yeah.
Are there any moments that you can pinpoint in your career that changed how you lead or others taught you that worked, and what didn't work?
It's so hard to pinpoint it because it's been always evolving. I for some reason, just things that went horribly wrong stick out, but it wasn't anything that I really did. When I first started in leadership, this is frightening. I was totally capable, but when I was 22, I took over my first memory care unit, and so I supervised 20 staff. I had 18 residents under my care, and there were a lot of people who were old enough to be my parents who worked for me at that time. And so I was never, I studied leadership. I went to leadership workshops and I read about leadership, and I still didn't know what to do. But there were a lot of people who just were not nice. They would make a big fuss in an in-service. They would say terrible things about me. They would not want to take any of my guidance because I was 22 and I looked like I was about 18. So that was really difficult. And so I worked there for a couple of years, and then I went back to school. And so that, I think, in that situation, it almost helped to, some of those people left, but it always felt very awkward to be, I was successful at a young age, and to be leading people, and still half of my team is old enough to be my parents. That hasn't changed. I'll eventually outage that problem, but I look a lot younger than I am still. So, so that was something that was really just difficult. And so I guess from that, I really had to learn about that. And that was probably the first lesson, is just because you get that title or you get that position, you're not in charge. You really have to get respect. And that even so I worked in various positions and went to graduate school. And then once I came here, I was the head of social services, but still, even though I wasn't the leader in charge of the building, a lot of people, I was a leader, not like the decision maker, but people followed what I said and they came to me for advice. So that was a good example of it was my leadership skills by that point. It wasn't my position, because I only had 2 people in my department. And I guess now it's still, people are going to follow whoever they feel they put trust and respect in. So that's really an important thing that you have to keep in mind. As far as like other leadership things, staff, it doesn't matter if they clean toilets or trash cans, or they take care of residents and take them to the bathroom, or they serve food, or they cook food, or they wash the dishes. People they all have the same basic needs. They want respect, they want autonomy, they want to feel appreciated, they want to feel like they're making a difference, they have a purpose in their life. And so I think it's important to really understand what makes people tick, and to give them as much freedom, decision-making power, respect, appreciation, and to protect that. And by protect that, I mean make sure that their direct supervisor has that same vision and understanding. make sure that the families treat people respectfully and step in and intervene when necessary. So, and then I guess kind of an offshoot of that is that people are very intrinsically motivated to do things. I think that was even one of the questions you guys had. Now that I'm thinking about that, but people are very intrinsically motivated to do things because of those natural drives. They want to feel appreciated and have autonomy and be valued as human beings and have a purpose. And so they will want to do things better just out of that. Like you can actually cheapen the experience by overly controlling them or not giving them enough authority or patting them for every single thing, you know, like, or giving them something for everything that they do. It has to be kind of sporadic so that you keep them having that creative thought from being squashed.
And then with those characteristics, what do you think on a personal level of your own strengths or weaknesses kind of led you to the leadership style that you use today?
You know, it's funny because HDFS is not thought to be a degree that you would go into for leadership. Like, it's just, you're just supposed to learn about what makes people who they are or what makes families behave a certain way. That's my whole degree in 2 sentences. But so what I have found is that so kind of studying leadership